Hello there, Hans. How are you? You well? Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Sure, anyway, welcome to Astrology 101. So far in the series, we've talked about birth charts, sun signs, and moon signs. If you haven't watched those ones yet, press pause right this second and go back because you're not ready. You're not ready for this level. You're not ready. In this episode, we're going to be talking about rising signs, otherwise known as your ascendant. So your sun, moon and rising make up what's known as your big three, because they're the biggest players in your chart. So that will be your next question for the Huns, to show them that you're that fucking astrology weirdo. What's your big three? There's your question. And then you can follow up by saying, oh my god, Hun, that makes so much sense for you. So your rising sign or ascendant is determined by where the horizon line was at the exact time of your birth. It's marked as a line labelled AS for ascendant on your birth chart, and it dictates the placement of your first house and then how all the other houses and the rest of your chart are broken up. So this is why it's so important to know your birth time when you're calculating your birth chart, because if your rising sign is inaccurate, it can mess up all the houses and just, it's a mess. So also your rising sign in itself is a very important part of your chart, so just get the time right. Your rising sign represents the way that you're perceived by others. It's related to appearances as well. So physically you would look like your rising sign rather than your sun sign. Some would say that your rising sign represents the first impression that you give to someone, but I don't necessarily agree with this, because I think the first impression you give to someone can depend entirely on the circumstances. So my understanding of a rising sign is that it's the side of your personality that you choose to display. So it's the person you present on Insta. It's you with full face of makeup on. It's kind of like that mask that you wear out into the world. Personally, I always like to think of your rising sign as who you are at a house party. Lol, house parties, RIP, pre-COVID life. Anyway, so if you think of a fantasy world with no COVID, you're at a raging house party. There may be a couple of your Huns there, but generally there are people there with whom you have varying degrees of comfortability. So there may be some people there who have frequently seen you make an arse out of yourself after 12 tequilas, and therefore you're a bit more familiar with them. But there also may be some new people there who you've never met before, and they've yet to witness you scream Shania Twain lyrics atop the coffee table. You're in for a treat. So your rising sign represents who you are in front of all of these friends, acquaintances, strangers and foes. And then as someone gets to know you, they unravel the deeper layers of your soul. If you scroll down on my page, you'll find my posts on each of the rising signs at a party. If you don't know your rising sign, head to astrohuns.com for a stunning little reading. And there's also some other cute stuff on there if you just want to go and have a creep. Anyway, I'm going to talk briefly about each of the rising signs today based on their elements. So we'll start off with the fire risings. We have Aries rising, Leo rising and Sag rising. If you walk into a room and there's a fire, it's not going to go unnoticed. You're going to pay attention to it, like it's a fire. So that's how it is with the fire risings. They come across very extroverted, high energy, just like this big ball of excitement. They're probably up to something though, so just keep an eye on them. Physically, it depends on the sign, but generally they'd have quite a bold, over-the-top style, a lot of bright colours, whether that's their hair or their clothes, probably both. But just to note as well, when I talk about the fire risings, for example, they're typically extroverted and confident, but if this is combined with a water or an earth moon, it may be toned down a bit, because don't forget your moon sign is your place of comfort. So if you're in a situation with new people and you're feeling a bit uncomfortable, your moon sign is the place that you retreat to. So it's probably your moon sign showing rather than your rising sign. So fucking cover that shit up. No, I'm joking. Let that moon shine. The earth risings then, Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn. I'm not going to keep saying Taurus rising, Virgo rising, Capricorn rising, because like, effort of that. Like, you'll know in this episode, if I mention the signs at all, I'm talking in relation to rising signs. So just, yeah, remember that. So with the earth risings, they come across a little more reserved and toned down. They're a very sensible kind of energy. They'll be the ones who leave the party before 10, depending on their other big three placements. The earth risings can come off a bit cold and serious, but you just have to draw them out of it, and they're great crack. Physically, they'll be quite conservatively dressed. Neutral, earthy tones, very polished, put together. Even like a Taurus rising, if they're wearing loungewear ahead of their drunken nap, they'll still be looking chic AF. Then we have the air risings, Gemini, Libra and Aquarius, who are the ones that will not let you get a word in. They love the chats. They appear very extroverted, quite charming. They'll be keeping that conversation going. They come off very intelligent too, and they'll love to try figure out how that head works. Physically, they'll be quite out there, not afraid to try a new look. Lastly, we have the water risings, Cancer, Scorpio and Pisces. They'll probably come off a bit quiet. They'll kind of keep to themselves, won't be trying to be the centre of attention or anything, unless the Pisces rising gets drunk, and then crowds stealing drunken cry. Not even the fire signs could compete with that level. Physically, you will have Cancers and Pisces risings in very soft, flowy clothing, flowery patterns, all that shit. But Scorpio, all black, or maybe like a very, very dark red. They'll look kind of scary, but you're intrigued. So that's it for this episode, and it's probably the last one until the new year. So happy holidays, huns, and thanks for following. Okay, bye.